Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
We are back. Tonight, we have an unusual show because we're not doing what we planned on doing because everything got a little bit changed. Illnesses and all sorts of stuff, But what we are going to do is we are going to talk some World Cup tonight because matches have just finished. And we are going to talk about all the different groups. So, who's going to start us off? Who's got the groups?
Okay. Well, why don't you do it, John?
Well, you'll probably need to share your screen if you've got FootMob up, if we're going to show the groups.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that.
I've just noticed actually on FootMob, if you actually click the one that says European playoff, it actually tells you who it is, which is helpful. So having just looked at Group A, we have Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and the Czech Republic, I believe it is.
Nice. Yep. Well, that's Group A. I mean, what do we think of that group? Who's the strong teams there?
Mexico, I would imagine. South Korea are pretty strong these days still, aren't they?
Yeah, they've been playing well. Definitely Mexico would be the strongest out of those, yeah.
And
not
Mexico,
sure about South Africa.
Yeah, Mexico will get games at home too.
Yeah, they could do.
Yep, being one of the host nations.
Yeah, I guess won't they be? Because usually the hosts open, don't they? So I don't know which host it is. I imagine it'd be the US, but
yeah. Well, we've got Canada just for this year's World Cup, guys. You have Canada, Mexico, and the US all hosting. So the whole of the American, like North America. If you sort of, I know Mexico's technically not North America, but it's like right there. So that whole band is the host of this World Cup.
If FootMob is to be believed, on the right-hand side there, it says Mexico versus South Africa is the first game on Thursday, the 11th of June.
Okay. Oh, yes. There you go.
I know it's in stupid time for you, Ken, but you know.
Yeah, well, so what you're looking at here is Australia time. So everybody, you need to probably take a day away from that. So it'll be Thursday, the 11th of June for everybody else. And it's being played at Mexico City Stadium. There you go. So 106,000 capacity stadium.
That'll be packed as well, won't it? You would imagine.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that will be crazy. 106,000 at the first match. And then, well, that's Group A. I'm just looking, so... Oh, yeah, it jumps around all over the place. Yeah, so that is the first two games is the Group A games.
Yeah, I think it'll do A, B. It'll go through just in normal sort of alphabetical order when the fixtures, I think.
Possibly. So then, look, Mexico should be favourites in that group, you would think, especially being at home. But Group B, what have we got? Canada, Qatar, Switzerland, and European Playoff A. Do we know which one that is?
Bosnia.
Who did they beat to get in?
I think it was some small European country that never seemed to qualify for World Cups anymore.
Yeah, not very good, that country.
Mamma mia!
There'll be a lot of that said tonight, I think.
It is interesting. What do you think overall, around the whole qualifying system for the World Cup? Like, obviously Europe and, say, South America have very strong football heritage. And then you get some Asian or Oceania, say, like I think of us with New Zealand, all the island teams, Australia, and we have to play some Asian teams as well. Is it fair and equitable?
I can't. Fair and equitable. Sorry, guys, that's just my brain. No, but it never will be, and it can't be, because if you seed everybody and just go by that, then the small teams are never going to get in. The only thing The only thing I don't particularly like, and there is no real way around it, is when you're qualifying with one team and then playing the World Cup with a different team. Yeah, it's like, does it really make sense? You can lose a lot of players in two years and stuff, but it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the concern I have is because they keep on insisting in expanding the World Cup numbers with the amount of countries that go, don't they? And for me, that dilutes the qualifying a little bit. I mean, as an England fan, we always qualify because it's like, realistically, the groups they're relatively easy to qualify from. I think the problem is when you get a country, and sometimes in one of the qualifying groups, or you get two of them, which are just so far away from being good enough, you almost question should there be a preliminary qualifying for those smaller nations to get to the main qualifying? Because I mean, I can't imagine somebody getting beat 7-6 by it's like Gibraltar and stuff like that. What do they really gain from getting battered most weeks or most games, should I say? I don't know. I think, as you said, Paddy, I don't think there's any way around it. It is what it is.
It's like in Europe, Liechtenstein, and San Marino. They're the two that everybody mentions in, okay, how many goals are we going to score on these guys? And was it San Marino recently actually won a match? And they hadn't won for like 20 years or something. It was big news. But yeah, look, it's interesting. I just wish there isn't so many of these weaker matches that mean nothing. But if you don't play enough of them, you're not going to get an upset anywhere, are you? So
no, and I mean, look, and I can from experience down here, there is pre-qualifiers to get into the qualifying for some small island teams and things like that. So I know for Australia, when we play, like say the Cook Islands, tiny team, it's like we can put out like a C grade team and still win like 6-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't bode well for competition, does it? Because you want all the games to be competitive.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I asked the question whether it's fair and equitable, but overall, I think it's the best system that they could have to try and make it truly a world event, which it is. And there's still upsets within that with some of these lower teams that do qualify. They do come through, and you do see big upsets every time the World Cup's on.
So, something I will say, kind of from my own perspective, is I can kind of see it a little bit from the perspective of the weaker teams. Is anytime Ireland did make it to the World Cup, it was always a big deal, even if you knew there was little chance you were getting out of the group and getting into the knockout stages. And Italy 90, when we did manage to get through the group stage, was absolutely massive around the country. So it's kind of expectations of different countries. What might be horrible football to the bigger teams is absolute fun and mayhem for smaller countries just getting close. Even almost winning is a win sometimes for those teams. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose you have to look at all sides.
Okay, well, why don't we move on then, and we look at obviously Canada, Qatar, Switzerland, and this other team. Canada obviously getting to play at home, which will be massive for them. Switzerland always surprised me. They seem to do, but they play quite well.
They can have good teams.
I would say they would be the favourites for that group for me, Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
But two will be true, so Canada's shot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a team which I don't know which group it is, but in the knockout round, if you're whichever group it is, you'll be playing a winner or a runner-up of Group B. You're probably thinking that's not a bad run to have, is it? It could be a lot worse.
Your chance, and that European playoff A team is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, I mean, go on, Paddy.
I was going to say, with a potentially balanced group, people can slip through the net just by having a couple of good results, because if you can have a lot of these teams actually having draws with each other, or going in a round robin only having one win and a loss, you can sometimes have surprises in who ultimately slips in right at the very end. So that could be one where one or two teams dominate, or it could potentially throw some interest in that group.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know Italy, it'll be the third World Cup they won't have qualified for, but you'd look at that Group B, maybe it's the football traditionalist in me, but if that was Italy, not Bosnia, you'd say that group looks very different then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you would still associate Italy with a big, they're still a big, strong nation in football. Whereas, Bosnia don't hold that same sort of, reputation, do they? So,
No.
Yeah.
No, interesting. Well, we might scroll on through, get into the next one. We get a little team called Brazil, Haiti, Morocco, and Scotland.
Scotland have a shot at getting through that group.
Okay.
Yeah, it's between them and Morocco, you would say, for second place, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, Brazil in a couple of their warm-up games haven't looked the greatest, but there's obviously a lot of experimentation going on at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for big teams to trial some younger players, blood a few people, see how they get on, in case they're needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The other thing to take into consideration, of course, it's the climate, isn't it? Because it's going to be over in America. Notoriously, European nations struggle
over there. Yeah.
Whereas you would say somebody like Brazil, you would expect to be strong,
even though
they might not be player-wise the strongest around us, or compared to what they used to be like, you'd still expect them to be able to, deal with the conditions a lot better. I mean, you imagine Brazil versus Scotland on a hot sunny day in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then, sorry, Paddy, you were going to say something?
No. I was just going to say plenty of water breaks so they can get the adverts in.
Yeah. Well, now we move on to probably the strongest group in the World Cup: Australia, Paraguay, USA, and European Playoff C. I don't know which team that is. Turkey. Okay. So Turkey. Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, there we go. So we play Turkey first off. So speaking from an Australian's perspective, on the 13th of June for the rest of the world, 14th of June for us at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, so good. 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me. How good. I'm so happy. But I will say we played a friendly, our second last friendly before we go into the World Cup, against Curacao, I think it's pronounced, last night, my time, and we won 5-1. We played a massively understrength team in the first half and were up 1-0 at half time, and then got back to 1-1, and then our manager Tony Popovich made a whole heap of changes, brought on Urun Kunda, brought on Cam Burgess. And I know as I say this, I'm talking about a lot of championship level players, and you start to think this is where you start to realise where you sit in the rankings of World Cup teams, because, we're bringing on our best players who play in the championship, or some of them, and then, but I'll tell you what, when these guys came on, Boss, who plays in the Netherlands, scored an absolute cracker goal. Like, curling was out the whole way until it just got inside right at the bottom of the post and just went in. Urun Kunda scored a great goal, then did a backflip, and then got a glove from the crowd and did a Michael Jackson impression in his celebration. But anyway, but look, we literally totally dominated them in the end to win 5-1. in that game last night. And our last warm-up game, interestingly enough, is against Mexico, which I think will be a great warm-up for us before we go into the World Cup. So, yeah, just a little bit of interesting information there for you. And we're going to be playing USA, and Josh is in here, and we're going to kick your ass. I'm just saying it now.
Would you say Australia favourites for that group, Ken? I don't know what Turkey are like these days, to be honest.
I would have to say Paraguay would have to be favourites, wouldn't they? That South American team. I don't know. We'll put it this way. We're by no means the underdogs we have been in years gone by. We're definitely a better team than America. Hate to say it to all the American fans out there. But we are. The Turkey, well, just by the fact that Turkey has only just got through means that, they're still going to be a good team. But I think that's a very open group, is my probably summation of that group.
Yeah, I'm going to say you could, in all honesty, you probably won't be able to pick the two that come first and second. It could be anyone, couldn't it? That's the thing with that group.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I guess, and that'll be that. But as I look at the next group, Group E, Curacao, Ecuador, Germany, and Ivory Coast. Well, I can tell you now, Curacao is either going to finish third or fourth. Germany and Ecuador there for sure.
Yeah, Ivory Coast are obviously weak as well. So you would expect Germany and Ecuador would probably take those top two.
Actually, Germany would have been very happy to see a group like this, I think, in the stage section. They didn't draw another big team or a real threat.
Heavy.
One of the heavy favourites to win the World Cup, you'd think, wouldn't you, Germany?
I'm not sure they're as favourites as they probably used to be. They're sort of rebuilding a little. I mean, they've still got some wonderful young talent. I just don't. As European teams go, I'm not sure they're not right at the top end these days. But it's Germany in the World Cup, so it's one of those, isn't it? You never rule them out.
No, that's right. Absolutely. So yeah, interesting group. I mean, for the fact that I think this is the biggest disparity between teams that we've looked at so far.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Next group, Japan, Netherlands, Tunisia, and who is European playoff team B?
Sweden.
Oh, that's an interesting group.
That is a tough group. Well, how good are Tunisia? I'm not confident on how good they are, but those other three teams are very good.
Tunisia have their moments. They can play some good football. It really depends who they have available. But yeah, they flex a bit between being very good and being kind of really average. So it'll be an interesting one to see.
Okay.
I'd probably make the Dutch favourites to win that group, but I'd say second place could kind of be up for grabs there.
Japan's very good though.
Japan,
very disciplined, play very good football
at the moment as well. They're kind of on an upswing as well. Yeah,
beat us tonight.
Well, next up, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand.
Belgium.
Yeah. New Zealand, we always beat New Zealand. So then I compare them and I go, okay. And then I've got Egypt and Iran. I think second place is up for grabs there.
Is it probably Mo Salah's last World Cup, you would say, wouldn't it? Can't imagine he'll be around for the next one.
No, just re-signed for Liverpool, I think, didn't he?
No, he's confirmed he's leaving.
But there was another thing that just happened the other day, I thought.
No, that was the confirmation of him leaving end of the season.
Oh, okay. Where's he going?
probably where the money is, I would imagine.
See, because pre-political conflict, Saudi Arabia was where the massive money is and everybody's happy to go. But is it MLS now, maybe? For a big team? For big money?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, the other thing with Salah is there's clearly a breakdown of a relationship between him and the management at Liverpool and the people behind the scenes at Liverpool. I suppose the question is how much does he want to stick it to Liverpool? You know, if, like you said, Ken, the Saudi move and the big money is off the table, and say is the MLS on the table, could he go and take a contract somewhere else in the Premier League?
Yep, fair point.
Because I mean, there would be. I mean, let's face it, there'd be clubs out there that would offer him silly money in the Premier League. I mean, like Newcastle, for example, would offer him silly money. Chelsea probably would have him back for silly. You know, somebody would offer him a silly contract, and it just depends.
Birmingham.
I think we'd need to be in the Premier League, and even that's a bit far fetched.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I was going to say Wrexham, but I thought no, Birmingham's way more fun.
You know, it's the sort of move I could see our neighbours going after. That that is the sort of thing. You know, if they do get top 4 this season in the Champions League, that's the sort of thing I could see them offering him a lot of zeros on a contract. And then it comes down to Salah. Does he want to stick it to Liverpool, stay in the Premier League and play against them and prove he's still got it? Or does he go off and chase the money?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, next up, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, Spain, and Uruguay. Would not want to be Saudi Arabia or Cape Verde.
Yeah, surely this is one of the easiest groups to pick a top two, bottom two.
The question is who finishes top, isn't it?
Spain.
Yeah, it has to be Spain, you'd think.
Yeah.
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, so the top 2 go automatically through to the round of 16. Would that be right? 48 teams, 12, 24, and then two extras get through?
Yeah, you've got some of the best third place finishers, haven't you?
Yeah, so it spreads out across all the groups, whoever was the highest third place.
Yeah, so Spain and Uruguay to go through here, we think.
Yeah, you'd probably go Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, Cape Verde on that one. Yeah,
in that order.
Likely in that order, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Next up, France, Norway, Senegal, and FIFA Playoff Tournament 2. Do we know this? This looks like
no, I don't. Yet? Yeah, I don't think that's been decided yet by the looks of it.
Okay. We'll do one. Are you doing homework there, Paddy? Is that what you're looking at?
No, my screen is over there with the list.
Yep.
My eyes are getting old. I can't see the screen in front of me.
Yeah, I don't know who FIFA Playoff Tournament 2 is in that race. But I mean, obviously, France to be the favourites to win there.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I tell you what, the France v Norway game would be worth watching just to see Haaland in a major tournament for the first time.
Yep.
Because you imagine he's going to be well up for it, and a very motivated Erling Haaland will be something to witness.
Yeah, well, I guess what support has he got around him? How good's the Norway? I mean, I'm sure they won't be weak. They've qualified for the World Cup. They're going to be a decent team.
Well, he's got if fit, haven't he? He's got Odegaard behind him, feeding him. So two of the better players around these days.
Yep. That's Group I. So then moving on to Group J. So we're already down to 40 teams here, like at the 10th group. It's all the A's: Algeria, Argentina, Austria, and then Jordan. Obviously, Argentina.
Yeah.
And then
Messi's last swan song as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. I mean, and perfect for him. I mean, he's playing in America. he's going to get to. He doesn't have to travel. So it's very good for him. But who's going to finish second there?
Probably Austria, I would say.
Yeah, I'd pick Austria, but Algeria have their moments as well.
Yep. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. And then we get into Group K. Oh, Colombia, Portugal. So two absolute football powerhouses. Then Uzbekistan and FIFA Playoff Tournament 1. So I'll have to look these up because I don't know when this tournament is being played. It has to be very soon.
Yeah.
So to see who the fourth team is there in Group K. Interesting.
I'm guessing it's got the likes of Jamaica and people involved, hasn't it? Because they're still playing qualifiers. So I'm guessing it's got to be some of those teams.
Yep. I'll just try and bring that up now.
Because you've got Congo versus Jamaica, I think, tonight. Which I don't know if the winners of that are one of these playoffs. I don't know, but
yep, I just found.
But I'm not sure who wins Group K. I'm not sure who. I'm not sure. Would you say Portugal over Colombia, or that's pretty tight because Portugal are not. They're not as good as they used to be, are they?
No. So there you go. So the final part A is Congo versus I just went off my screen. Can you believe that? It's a scrolling screen. Congo and Jamaica.
So they're playing at the moment, I think.
Okay. So they're playing for a spot right now.
Yeah, it's at 57 minutes, and our boy Karamateri is playing.
Is he?
He is.
Well, there you go.
Scuba Steve.
I know the Jamaican. I know the Jamaican people.
It's still nil up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say I know the Jamaican lot are still not. They're not particularly happy because Damari Gray, he plays for Jamaica as well. He's injured, so he didn't go, and they were whinging because apparently he's one of their better players, and he hasn't. He's been injured for the last 2 or 3 international duties now, which they're moaning a little bit about.
Yep.
I would imagine. I'm going to say I imagine Congo will win that, or you would expect them to win it. I had a look earlier, and it's one of those where you don't anticipate to see, a particularly strong side, but then I clicked on Congo starting 11, and there's a lot of names I recognise, and I was like, "Oh wow, really interesting."
Okay, so Congo have had 7 shots versus 3, 2 shots on target versus 1, and 1 big chance. Possession is even at the moment. So we shall see.
Interesting. So I'm just seeing there is a chance to actually get to see this. I might actually be able to bring it up. Let's have a look and see. Live on FIFA Plus. What's this? Sorry, guys. There we go. And we will see how we go. Yep. So just give me 1 second, guys. I've got to pop out for 2 secs.
Yeah. So I have the team up in front of me for Congo, and Masuaku, Mbebe, Wambasaka, Motosami, Bakambu, Sadiki, Mbuku.
Twinzabi at the back as well. Wissa up front.
Yeah, Twinzabi, Wissa. Yeah, it's a lot of decent players there.
I can say there's a lot of players you kind of recognise and have had, either playing in Premier League or have played in Premier League recently.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously Jamaica Jamaica has still got a few, haven't they? I mean, Pinnock, I know he doesn't play for Brentford too much. Pinnock's at the back. Is that Bobby Reid from Leicester? Yeah, Bobby Reid.
Hayden, QPR. Okay.
I was going to say, wouldn't it be great to see Scuba Steve Katamateri in the World Cup?
Yeah, he's already scored. Not tonight, but he scored in the last match, didn't he? Pretty sure he did.
Yeah. Yep. And then, so then we have, well, that was, so Colombia and Portugal to win that group, to go up in that group, though, you'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
And then you have Croatia, England, Ghana, and Panama. There you go, John. You've got Croatia, Ghana, and Panama.
Yay.
Your enthusiasm astounds me.
It's just England, isn't it? I mean, we will qualify out the group. We'll probably win all our games and not play particularly well and not look convincing and win all our games. And yeah, it's what we do, you know. Yeah, I think the thing is with England is we've got to win it, haven't we? Really, I mean, we're one of the favourites to win it. Quarterfinals and stuff won't be enough, and depending on who we face, semi-final might not be enough for a lot of people.
Yeah,
but we've got to play well, and I don't see us doing that because I don't think we've played well in a major competition for a very long time.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Croatia and Ghana have their moments as well. Now it'll probably take, Croatia especially, but so it'll probably take England playing bad and them playing well, in order to kind of cause real trouble to you. And I don't see you not getting in the top two at least, even if you have some disastrous result in there. But yeah, so interesting matches at least, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Croatia always tend to pose us a game. I mean, they're not the the likes of Modric and the rest of them are not quite. Well, I'm not even sure if Modric will be going or not. But yeah, it's just England in a major competition. We never look convincing. We seem to sort of stumble our way through, and then we'll get to a semi-final or something, and then we will put ourselves in a position where you've got a real chance of actually doing something, and we'll somehow just not turn up. It's just our way, or we will turn up and we'll lose to a dodgy VAR decision or something daft like that.
Yeah. Well, I've now got that game up. I'm watching. I've got it up now, so I've found the game. Interesting. What is it? Jamaica. What's the other team?
Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo.
COD means Congo. Okay. Yeah. I tell you what, I don't know where they're playing, but the stadium looks amazing. So yeah, so I'll keep an eye on that because it's 62 minutes in and it's still 0-0. So very interesting. But so I guess then we get down here. When we look at this, it has best third place team, and it's already got some teams in here for some reason. Obviously, everybody's got 0 points, so it's
just all the teams which are currently third listed in the groups.
On the groups. Okay, so that makes sense now. So that's going to change.
That'll be their tracker. Yeah, that'll be their tracker throughout the games.
And 8 of those teams get through by the looks of it because there's a green beside the top 8.
Looks that way.
Now, but if there's 12 groups, that's by 2. So that's 24 teams. Plus 8, 32. Okay, so it goes to a round of 32. Okay, see, just took my brain a little bit to figure it out.
Yeah, because I think this is the first World Cup where they've extended it, isn't it? So there's an extra. I think
they extended. Yeah.
It used to only be the round of 16, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they've added an extra round, haven't they? Essentially, I think.
Now I don't feel like I was just having an absolute brain explosion because I thought,
that's going to make it significantly easier for those like unlucky teams to scrape through in third here. You're going to have, like, for any half decent team, you're going to have an absolute disaster to end up not getting into the first 2.
I think it still comes down to that. It's obviously still all about the group stage when you think about it, because there's, finishing first or second is really important, and finishing top of your group to get a good seeding is also very important. And especially with it being round of 32, there's a long way to go once you get into the knockout stage.
It depends, doesn't it? Because I mean, over here in England, we have this. Whenever a World Cup or a European Championships come online, it's one of those where there's always a big media drive of, is it actually best to finish first or is it best to finish second? Because it depends on which side of the group or the knockouts you go. So yeah, I can say normally, yes, you're right, Ken. First is the best way, but I think it was the last Euros, wasn't it? I think we went in the one side of the draw, which everyone moaned about us actually ending up finishing where we did, but actually, as it turned out, as all the other teams started to fall, it was the easier side of the draw to be on.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, I look back through some of these groups and I just go, yeah, there's going to be some upsets here. Like, definitely. Like, I mean, Canada, Qatar, Switzerland, and Bosnia Herzegovina. Canada could get through in that group.
Yeah. Yeah. See, with the amount of third place teams that actually get through now, you're really hoping for any sort of semi-balanced group, because you can all take points off each other, which means third place actually have some points. If you end up with two really strong teams, they could gobble all the points, allowing you only one win versus the weakest team in the group. And that may not be enough to get you through. 4 points is probably going to be needed to get through in the third place spot, a win and a draw.
Actually, just quickly on the side note, this match is being played in Guadalajara in Jamaica. If I'm Scuba Steve, I'm not coming back to Wrexham. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and sunny. But yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you look at Group C, for instance, you're right about that, Paddy, because I would imagine the likes of Morocco and Scotland are probably looking at that thinking, I hope Haiti are absolutely awful and lose every game, because then they'd say, Scotland and Morocco would both say, we'll beat Haiti, that's 3 points, and maybe draw with each other, that's 4 points, and then you'd most likely lose against Brazil. 4 points might actually get you through in third place.
Yep.
And I wonder how they break the tiebreaker, because a lot of teams may end up on that 4. And if it slides that 3 is enough, there's going to be a couple of teams on 3. So how do they break that tie? If it's goals for and against, you could have an absolute disaster team as the number 4, and you could beat them 7-8-0.
Yeah.
And that could be the difference to make you survive.
I suppose, Paddy, in a way,
you go, John.
I was going to say, hopefully, in a way, that doesn't mean you get some meaningless fixture. I mean, like you would normally say, Scotland v Haiti would be a fixture that only really Scotland and Haiti fans would ever watch.
Yes.
But you'd say Scotland, knowing that, with the third place, saying, if it is goals or goal difference and that, I mean, they'd be going hell for leather, wouldn't they? I mean, if they're winning 3-0 by half time, they're not just going to take it easy. They're going to say, right, lads, let's pile it on, because if we can score 5 or 6 here, there's not, you wouldn't imagine there's going to be many of those results around.
Yep. Elvis is not happy because I've got the wrong spot for Guadalajara. They're saying it's in Mexico. Well, I didn't know that, and that's okay. Come on, man, he says. Come on, he's into me. Give me a rip. Go on, you rip into me, Elvis. I'm fine with it.
Geography, not your strong suit there, Ken.
Hey, there's a lot of things that aren't my strong suit, John.
Yeah, I didn't think Guadalajara was correct, but I just was not comfortable calling you out because the chat might have been getting on me because I might have been wrong.
Well, put it this way: if this is a stadium for one of the World Cup games, that'll be unbelievably good because it's an amazing stadium.
Nice. They usually are big stadiums for this.
Yeah, well, but interesting you're talking about that. When I look at Australia's group with Paraguay, USA, and Tunisia, Turkey. Sorry. No, yeah, Turkey. I go. Your point about the for and against and everything there. I mean, Australia's qualified the last few times through to the knockout stages, but I almost expect us to qualify for the knockout stages this time.
Mm-hmm. With that group, yeah, very, very possible. And points could be shared, around the group. Yeah.
What's it worth to the USA being at home? Is it worth how many extra points, if any?
But is it though? The nerves of that could actually hurt you. If you're not playing well, and the crowd isn't kind of as supportive as you might want, it can get to you.
Yep.
I suppose what's the other thing would be, I mean, I don't buy into the whole sort of, a home World Cup or a home, has a huge effect. That's more so on big nations because, if it's in France or England or Germany and that, realistic, you're already a strong side. So, it being at home, adds more pressure than anything. Like you say, Paddy, I'm not sure it's a benefit. I suppose somebody like USA, Mexico, they're slightly, well, they are underdog nations, aren't they? So you would envisage it will probably spur them on, in some cases. But I don't know with the I don't know what with the American, did the American fan base expect them to qualify? Do they think they're good? It's one of those, isn't it? If the ambition is get out of the group and hey, whatever happens, then fine. But if they're kind of expected to get out of the group, then that could be tough.
So someone's Elvis just asked, wait till you see us, Tekka. That thing is awesome. Plop a pic. Well, there's the pic of that stadium. Look at that. What sort of atmosphere is that going to have?
Yeah.
Imagine Mexico playing there.
I just had a quick look at where the World Cup final is actually being hosted, and it's at the MetLife Stadium in New York.
Yeah, right.
Which I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I'm a little bit worried for. Okay, we never want to get political here, but I'm a little bit worried for this World Cup, to be honest.
I think it's still going to happen, isn't it? Because it's money.
Yeah, it'll still happen. But there's going to be. I think there's going to be some. It's not going to be all. It's not going to be all roses and chocolates.
No, and if you read a lot about the pricing of the tickets and stuff like that, it's pretty crazy. So yeah.
The only thing about that is how much are the Americans used to paying such overinflated prices anyway? That's the one thing, maybe it's too overinflated, but maybe it doesn't look as bad for them. So we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, it's ridiculous money for small countries to send some fans over, if you want to go. It's near impossible.
There's one thing for sure, and that is the one thing that has always been the case, is football fans find a way. So you guarantee most of the games will be, I won't say sold out, but there'll be fans in there. Let's put it that way.
I was reading an article today, actually. I didn't go into it enough time, but they were talking about the fact that tickets are available again. So that there is still tickets now available because they weren't selling them at such high prices, but maybe they held some in reserve or whatever. But some signs that maybe some additional tickets were found cheap.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll wait and see. I think it'll still be a massive success, and they'll pay for tickets, and they'll pay exorbitant prices that tickets will be, especially in America. I wonder what the ticketing pricing is like in Canada and Mexico.
I think it's all got to be the same though, hasn't it? I think it's because it's FIFA driven, so I think it's pretty standard across the board.
So 17 million pesos for a ticket in Mexico.
I know it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and I know you. I mean, I don't go to England games at all. Never have. And I know I've got a couple of mates that actually do, or they usually go to England home games. They don't sort of go to, competitions abroad and stuff. But if you want to try and get tickets through FIFA via the FA and stuff like that, it's honestly, it's like remortgage your house type of money. It's ridiculous. Because then, I mean, that's just a ticket. Then you've got to go over there. It's mad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, Paddy.
I had to do it. I had to do the conversion. I was curious as to what your made-up number came out at. Do you want to know what 14 million pesos is?
I said 17, but we'll go with 14. How much is it?
17. I'll change it. Hang on. Now let's do it properly. Oh, sorry, 17. I did 17. Yeah, no, I have it.
How much is it?
$950,000 dollars. 950,000 US dollars.
Yeah, well, that was for a box. I was assuming
for
a box.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. For the World Cup final.
Wants to be a bloody nice box.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, because we're talking about inflated prices and prices of things, in 2032, the Olympics is in my hometown. And I've already started to think about, do I want to go to events? If I wanted to go, which events would I want to go to? Will I be able to get tickets? You think about these big events like World Cups and Olympics, things like that, and getting tickets and what you're willing to pay for tickets. I sort of, for people that are living in Mexico, USA, or Canada, it's almost a once in a lifetime experience. For people wanting to travel, like John's saying, like we've got to pay for flights and things. I think that's for the definitely seriously upper middle class and above to afford to do that. So people like John, and then for, if it's in your home country, that's a bit of a different story. So yeah, you might be able to afford to save up to buy a ticket,
How long did the Olympics last for?
How long do they last for?
Yeah.
About 2 weeks.
Only about 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious, like if things were so expensive for that period, would it be worth figuring out how to rent out all the houses that people want to sell?
That's what happens. That's absolutely what happens, Paddy. Yeah. People, when the Sydney Olympics was on in 2000, people went away on holidays for 2 weeks and rented out their house and actually made money in the whole process. To afford a holiday while renting out their house. But I'd want to be here.
Yeah.
I'd want the experience.
But I was thinking about all those houses people want to sell that you have links with. Well, we're not gonna sell them during this month. We're going to rent it out for you at exorbitant cost and make you some big cash.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet where people are starting to talk about prices in property for the inflation of prices with the Olympics coming, but it's only just around the corner. And I'm a bit upset because that game is just frozen on my screen. So, for whatever reason.
Yeah, Catamarty's taken off.
He has been taken off, yeah. And it's still 0-0.
Still 0-0, yeah.
But it might be a bit later, yeah. Here we go. My daughter paid $1,200 per ticket for USA versus Paraguay in LA. Also via lottery, got tickets for Houston and Dallas. If they sell via FIFA site, FIFA takes 15% on the sale and purchase.
And the purchase.
Good old FIFA.
Yeah.
Making money.
$1,200 per ticket.
No, that's US. So
yeah, but
So how much? So how many seats does LA hold? I wonder. Let's call it. Let's go 50,000, just to pick the number. Yeah, that's a lot of dollars.
I bet it's more than 50,000 too.
Mm-hmm.
It might be. Yeah. I'm not
SoFi,
sure.
I'm guessing it'd be SoFi Stadium, will it?
I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm sure it's more than 50. Yeah, most of them would be 70 plus, but just to do some round figures, like that's 50 million. That's huge.
And that doesn't include your TV rights
And everything else with it, yeah. And a single match.
So what are we talking? There's now they won't sell out every match either, like because you get
they won't. Yeah.
Like Iran versus New Zealand, wherever that is played, that's not going to sell out, you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
Well, without wanting to get political, are they going to be in the World Cup?
It's fair. That's a fair comment.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if they get called out or decide not to, or whatever happens in between. Yeah,
you'd like to think they would be, because sport, and I don't like politics and sport and all that kind of thing. It should be completely separate. So, but the way the world is, you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we just had the Women's Asian Cup down here, and Iran played in that, the women's team, and a few of their players defected.
Oh yes, I remember that story.
And they were here, and then two of them actually reneged on it and went home. But anyway, yeah, there you go. SoFi Stadium, 70,000 capacity. So
you'd imagine the US games will sell out, or you would think so, wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%. And European teams, you would think, like England, I would imagine would sell out.
Yeah, I'm sure we will, because we're idiots. We travel in force for some stupid reason.
Yep, and then and the beer sales will be excellent at those games.
That's one thing. If we're rubbish on the pitch, we'll certainly spend money off it.
And you'll sing, and you'll have one of the best atmospheres. Although, I'll tell you what, I would love to attend a Mexico home game in Mexico for that atmosphere. I reckon that will just be absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, you know what? It's something that I think could be quite fun, depending on the location. Like in Mexico and some of these big stadiums. If you were to go to just some random match and get a cheaper ticket, and one that has some people at it, not the tiny ones, but that could be fun too. Just to say you've done it if you were local. I'd love them to come and do a big Europe World Cup where multiple countries came together and did something similar to the three countries here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something to look forward to. And guys, just for reference, the reason we've done this show today is because we had another show planned. Paddy's done a big thing in the background. We're going to bring it for the next day. We were going to be talking all things championship today, weren't we, Paddy?
Yes, we were.
And Paddy's given the rest of us a whole lot of homework.
And some of us did it on time. Now,
to be fair, John's done his homework, and he did his homework in the middle. No, actually, I can't say that on. I can't say that on.
You can in the middle of a meeting. I did it in the middle of a meeting. I was really bored.
Now, I got this in the middle of the night. It's now 20 to 9 in the morning for me, and I feel like I've done pretty well, Paddy. I'm down to.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I'm down to the last 2 rounds. So, and then when are we planning to get the show out? Do we want to sort of try and think about that? Yeah, because it was going to be.
Needs to be before Friday.
Yes. Yes, it does. And I'm just looking at that now. And
we'll have to talk to the others, because the idea was to get us all at a show together, because we haven't done that in a long time. So.
Yeah, so we'll talk to the other boys and we'll figure out the time. But it's definitely going to be worth watching because I'm going to say Paddy's done a whole heap of work here. And it's great. But I'll tell you what, it's done my head in getting to these last 2 rounds, Paddy, to check them off. I'm going to blame Paddy. Paddy should have, in his drop downs, when I choose one in the drop down, it's going to automatically
Yes, I wanted to do that. I didn't have time. I yesterday and today had deadlines that I had to meet as well, so I couldn't. I wanted to do that.
Yeah, so it's not my fault that I'm not finished. It's Paddy's fault.
But yeah, you didn't notice, did you, that I was actually in the document with you, and when you were putting them in one, I was copying it and trying to put the second one into you.
No, I did not notice that.
Yeah, you didn't notice that. No.
Well, thank you, Paddy. There's too much to look at.
I just find it hilarious that he's actually giving you grief, Paddy, over spreadsheets when obviously, you know, he's so reliable on the tipping sheet, isn't he?
I'm just saying, it's already been decided that you haven't won the footy tipping comp, John.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have to come up with some rule here because you seem to be lagging behind me a little bit now.
Yes, yeah, we're going to have to come up with a rule because Aaron and I were getting a little bit one-sided and saying the only 2 people that couldn't win the footy tipping comp this year were you and Paddy. And now I'm against some of the you guys.
Congo scores, but we have VAR.
I think they're offside, weren't they? That was offside.
Oh, don't VAR.
That was definitely offside. It was offside straight away as soon as I looked at it.
Out of interest, on just touching on VAR, did you see the X post I shared in Discord earlier?
Yeah.
Did you notice the funny thing that was actually because it was from Henry Winter, who's a very respected, and I actually do like Henry Winter for a lot of stuff he says. But did you see his conversation with another journalist in the thread after it?
No.
He basically, there was another journalist that replied to him and basically just said, "Get used to it, Henry. VAR's not going anywhere. It's going to stick around, blah, blah, blah." And Henry replied to him and just basically said, he said, "Yes, I know it's going to stick around." He says, "But football has just forgotten what no VAR feels like." And then somebody replied back to him and says, "No, actually, 72 out of the 92 haven't forgotten what no VAR feels like. There is football below the Premier League, Henry." which I thought that was brilliant because he made a real good point and everything about VAR, and then just completely ruined it by just basically thinking Premier League and only. So
yeah, wow.
VAR could be used quite effectively without interfering with the match if they just change the bloody rules of how they get on with it. Simple as that.
It just doesn't work in its current form, does it?
No,
that's the thing. And it's one of those, as a fan that goes to all the games, home games I go to, I can't imagine, you know, how it feels where, you know, you score a goal and you can't truly celebrate because you're not, you know, it's one of those. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I've never experienced it myself, but you know, I always think, how would it feel that you just scored a brilliant goal, but you're sat there going, can I really celebrate? It must be a horrible feeling, you know.
Yeah, because it's just all the time. It's like, just, you know, they go to, and as soon as they go to VAR, you're like, ugh. I actually saw they had one last night in the Australia game, and it was actually confirmed that it was a goal. And it's one of the rare occasions you don't see that happen very often.
Yeah, it's too strict in some of the interpretations they're using. Simple as that. It takes too long and it's too strict because it should be what they said for obvious errors. So big mistakes that the ref didn't get. Simple as that, you know. And there should be no issue with this idea where they're saying, "Oh, well, it's not an obvious." It's an obvious error to everybody. It's an obvious error to the cameras, but it's not an obvious error from the ref's perspective at the time. That's a load of crap. That is the biggest one for me. That's a load of nonsense. Because you know what? If the ref couldn't see it, it's not a problem that he didn't see it. Like, you don't have to come down on the ref because VAR changes something. It should not be about that. And the refs were trying to protect each other by this stupid rule. Well, if it's not an obvious mistake by the ref, it doesn't matter if the ref makes mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. You're using different viewpoints. You're going to catch stuff that he doesn't. that's acceptable. It's not on the ref. And then you can have these calls. If it's a big, if it's an obvious error by the ref, no big deal. But you now have the correct result, and you do it quick, and not these minuscule little offsides. That's nonsense as well.
I've always long said, and I know it's a bit sort of mad, but I've always said, if you look at an event, like if it goes to VAR or something, if it takes longer than 20 seconds, it's not clear and obvious.
It's not clear enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like if the ruling is clear and obvious, I'm sorry, but within 20 seconds of re-seeing it on video, even if it's just a couple of angles, you're going to know within 20 seconds whether whether it's a penalty or whether it's whether it's it's those sort of things. You think,
if a ref can do it on the pitch in the moment by seeing it once, then two refs on a video monitor can do it by watching each video angle only once in real time. And if they can't notice that it's obviously a mistake, then let it go. That's it. That's all you need. And tackles are the other one that really bugged the crap out of me. You should never watch a tackle in slow motion.
No.
You should be watching it as a ref does.
Yeah.
That's it. And you can, like I said, you can have 3 different viewpoints. You can have 3 different cameras. You watch them all once. You might clearly see him take someone out at the knee or gets his studs in him. Okay, you've seen it. Done. But you can see that in real time. You should be able to see that from 3 different versions of an angle.
Yeah. It's the tackling one really annoys me these days because it's not. I don't blame the referees for this. That's the rule where the criteria for a red card of endangering an opponent and all this sort of stuff. That's an absolute load of shit for me. I know obviously I saw it in the comments, a few of them going on about Dobson, which was a yellow card which got overturned and made as red. Now I agree. In my world, that's not a red card, but the way that the law is written now, it is a red card. But the thing that annoys me is we played Millwall, obviously not long ago. One of their players made no attempt for the ball and took a player of ours out. Went into him, like elbow and shoulder, right into the guy's shoulder, injured him. He was, he's been out since basically. Now, I looked at that, I thought, no, that's endangering an opponent because he's gone and done him. It's not about, Dobson was just late. He didn't go to hurt the guy. He was just late. Those things happen in football. The one that I was more annoyed, I thought, that's the one where VAR, but VAR wouldn't do anything about that, the Millwall one, but they would still punish the Dobson one, which is why I say the rules are just rubbish the way they're written. Yeah. And same with the handball rule, absolute pants.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I hate the fact that, like, I think you nailed it, Paddy. Play it at real speed.
Yeah. It's very simple. One check on each camera angle is how I would do it. You've got 2 refs there. They both watch it at the same time. And if they both want to change it, then they change it. And how long does it take you? 5 seconds for each clip? 10 seconds max for them? Within a minute, you're done, and it should be less than that.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I always find referees, and not necessarily referees, but the governing bodies of football, they just overcomplicate the game with these complex rules when they don't need to be. My dad always says to me, football, it's a simple game, should be kept a simple game. And that's the problem. It's not anymore. They try and make it far more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah. The other one seen as around this far tangent that I absolutely hate is the idea of people faking injuries. Is if you're going down this road and you're not willing to change the fact that light touches and endangerment is going to get you red cards, you have to deal with people cheating to get red cards and yellows. Now, I'll say you can't necessarily do that during the match. You can't always do that. But I think players should absolutely be reviewed after the match for elements of diving and faking injuries, and teams should be punished afterwards. And you just make it a sliding scale, that it's a player out for 1 match, it's a player out for 2 matches, 3 matches, 4 matches. Anybody on the team, an entire team. If we give you a sanction to anybody for faking injuries, it just keeps going up as the season goes. And they'll figure out it's not worth doing when you get deemed for diving once and suddenly 4 matches that player's out. Like, yeah, they won't be doing it anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously we used to have a guy that he's moved on, but he used to work at my place, and he was a semi-professional referee. And I remember at the start of the season, I was picking his brains about rules and stuff, and I was saying about the goalkeepers going down. Which really bugs me, that goalkeeper. I know we do it, everyone does it, but it really bugs me that a goalkeeper goes down when they're clearly not injured and it's basically a break in play for a team talk or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, has that ever been discussed in your letter? And he said, yeah. He said over the summer, part of the FA and all, he said at their big conference, it was talked about, but he says they actually have there's no rule or anything. They discussed what they could do to stop it, and they struggle to find a relevant reason, result to stopping it, because he said, you can't. If a player, he said to me, if a player says he's injured, he says you have to take them at their word, and if they call on for the trainer, then he said an outfield play is different because they go off and the game can continue. Yeah. He said obviously with the goalkeeper you can't do anything about that. If the goalkeeper sits down and says he's genuinely injured, he said you can't do anything. There's no way of actually stopping that.
This is why, in that particular instance, I would not put this on the ref to deal with during the match. This is why, for me, those particular type of incidents are, you monitor all the cameras afterwards. Because if you're going to fake an injury, you better be damn good at it. Because a camera will catch you smiling or laughing or throwing your eyes or something, to show that you're not really injured. It's quite hard to do to actually fake an injury and look good. Now, it might be a little bit easier for keepers because they just say, I've got a hamstring injury and stuff. So that might still be an issue. But the other thing then, if you need to do, is you stop them having breaks with the managers. And you put another box on the bloody grass if you have to. No player is permitted inside this area when the ball is out of play. When there's an injury stoppage, no player is allowed inside this box, and it covers the inside part of where the dugouts are, technical area.
The only counter to that I ever saw, which was last season in League One, was Ryan Allsop, our goalkeeper, managed to counter it, because I can't remember who we played. I think it was Lincoln or somebody like that. We played at home, and they would do it literally. The goalkeeper was going down every 10 minutes to break up play, and they were having like a little team meeting on the touchline. And to stop it, every time they had, he ran over to the opposition dugout and just stood on the pitch right next to the dugout so he could listen. And it just completely stopped it because he just stood there because they couldn't do it. And I remember their dugout going mad at the referee, pointing to him, and the referee was basically like making the gesture saying, well, he's on the pitch, he's allowed to be there. I can't, he's not off the pitch, he's not interfering, he's just stood there. So maybe more players need to take it into their own hands, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, just so you know, guys, it got full time in this game, Congo versus Jamaica, and it is still 0-0. I'm not too sure whether it's extra time or pens now. It looks like it's extra time.
Extra
time first,
yeah. So a lot still to happen in this game here, and as we know, Scuba Steve's off the pitch, so he's no longer playing. But going to be very interesting. Italy totally butchered their penalty shootout, John.
I haven't seen it, but looks that way, doesn't it?
4-1. So out of their 4 penalties, they only scored 1.
Josh in the chat, good news, bad news, Wrexham injuries. I think I might know he's mentioning, unless there's something new.
Okay, well, fill us in.
So our little glass cannon is going for another scan because he's still injured. Kakache.
Andy Cannon. Okay.
No, Kakache.
Kakache, sorry.
Yeah. So he's he's going to be out for another while. Another scan to check what's wrong with him. And then Matty James is going to be out for another while as well. They're doing more work on him. he hasn't responded as well as they want. Apparently, there's some talk about getting him a special boot that gives extra protection for his toe, so that he doesn't re-injure it while it's still finishing healing. And Josh is saying Sheaf is good. Yeah, Sheaf is good, so he's coming back. Libby, has the scan and look to be out for a while. And Matty will be out for a while, but apparently there's talk of a special boot that you'll be able to play him.
I did not expect Kache back this season, to be fair. Matty James, I was hoping would be back after the international break. Sounds like that's not going to be possible. But Sheaf back, interesting. I wonder when Sheaf is back, or Sheaf good. I wonder how soon he's back.
Well, if he's saying Sheaf good kind of now, then that means he should be back after international. I'm hoping
back for West Brom,
maybe. The meaning, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, more still up in the air, but encouraging signs, says Josh.
Well, you better bring him back down to the ground then if he's up in the air.
John.
So, in other news, John, when are you finally going to put out your accounts for Birmingham so we can all see how much money you've been spending on players?
No idea. They don't have to, do they? That's the thing.
They have to put out the basics by the end of the month.
No, they don't. They don't have to publicise it. They only have to put it into the EFL. They don't actually have to make it public if they don't want to.
Really? Okay.
So I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will because everyone does it. But no, when was it? The deadline was the other day, wasn't it?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. No, I thought the deadline was a few days ago. Apparently, I think for inputting it into the EFL. So, yeah, I'm sure they will announce it. Knighthead are not going to miss an opportunity to brag about how much money they've made. And granted, we will have spent an absolute ton on wages.
More than you've made.
Well, I don't think we would have spent more than we made. That's for sure. But I'm sure our wages last season will be astronomical compared to the level, shall we say?
But we spent 20 million on wages.
Yeah, I'm sure ours will be
higher.
Probably a lot higher.
Yeah.
Well, they will be, won't they? Because obviously we did.
They will. Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I know your wage. I would say your wages this season will be interesting because your wages would have gone a lot higher this season compared to
almost a full new team coming in.
Yeah. And so will have ours. To be fair, our wages will be a lot higher. So, but then it's the price of success, isn't it? It's the price of what you're dealing with at this level.
Well, at the moment we're under control, 60% revenue to wages. So.
Yeah. No, I will be interested to see our revenue figures because I know Knighthead were very, very keen to claim, well, they have been the last couple of years of how much revenue they're making. There was that bold claim that Tom Wagner said midway through last season that we were generating more revenue than non-parachute payment teams in the Championship while we were in League One. Whereas they were claiming this season we were generating the same amount of revenue as parachute payment teams in the Championship, which is why they said we could compete financially with those teams. Yeah. So figures will back up what they said or not.
Yeah, well, time will tell. Well, it's been an interesting on-the-fly episode today.
Yeah. Good to be back online, talking some football at least.
Well, yeah, only, what are we? It's Wednesday my time, so it's
3 days.
36 hours away from the first game, which is an absolute banger. Millwall and Middlesbrough.
Yeah, that's a big game. That's a big, interesting game.
Is that the early kickoff on Friday? Is it
early kickoff? Well, Thursday it'll be your time.
Will it?
Being Easter weekend.
Thursday, the UK. I thought they were all playing on Friday.
Yeah, they're all Friday.
Oh, okay. Well, Friday 9:30. Every time I look at the days online, I just think a day back for you guys.
It's 12:30 kickoff on Friday afternoon for me.
Oh, okay, so that's 9:30 p.m. on Friday for me.
Yeah, so Saturday.
I'm going to be watching. I'm definitely
Friday
gonna
early
be watching.
match.
Yeah, so I sadly won't be able to see that because I'll be travelling to the game.
Well, travelling to, where are you? Oh, the Blackburn. Going to win
Surely
this game,
you can win that.
I mean, we are different at home, so yeah, I should think so. It depends whether we turn up wanting to play for the manager and wanting to. It could be anything. The one thing that does concern me is I think Blackburn will want the points more than we do because they're fighting for their lives.
Mhm.
The only difference is I think Blackburn are crap, so you know. But
we're playing West Brom. West Brom are desperate for points as well.
Yeah.
Away I would certainly prefer to be playing Blackburn at home than I would West Brom away. Let's put it that way.
Fair.
That's a
Blackburn and West Brom on 43 points.
Yeah, and West Brom are on a bit of form, haven't they? They've turned it around recently.
Yeah. Yep, won their last 2 games, yeah. Which reminds me, I'll have to get in our own private Discord to get our footy tips in for this weekend.
For this week, yeah.
Or just don't send them to me, Ken, in the hope that I forget, so you might make up some points, you know.
Great idea. Good idea. Thanks for giving me that idea, John.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. On that bombshell that John is not going to win the footy tip competition because we're not going to let him. We will see you again shortly. Keep an eye out as we put up the different streams, guys. See you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.